Hello, lovely people. Look at Mount Shasta, so beautiful. Gotta make sure I don't sit on my cute little cow. Hopefully you are doing well. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna stay on today because I actually didn't charge my phone between my live streams, and I don't really have much to talk about today. I just wanted to kind of touch base and get on here for a little while. I haven't been on for a while. I've been, well, as Lady Christ Miriam would say, in the wind. I recently went to Florence for the church service on Mother's Day. Before that, I went to Texas for a business trip. And before that, I went to Salt Lake City to prepare for the business trip. And well, actually, also before Texas, I went up to Florence to make sure that I could get back to Florence. My sleeping arrangements needed to be made. And so, yeah, I went up to Florence, then down to Medford, then flew to Texas, then flew back to Medford, then drove up to Florence. So it's definitely been a journey. Something that just popped into my mind was about my trip to Florence after I got off the plane in Medford, and just the people that were on the road being so very bizarre. And one interaction in particular, like this person waited until like I was about to pass a semi and then scooted in really quick, and then like I was already going a certain speed, and then they felt the need to brake check me even though they had pulled out in front of me. And yeah, and then at one point I was able to pass them, and they were already, before I even started passing, had their finger, flipping me off, and just ready to have that negative interaction, even though, again, they were the ones that cut me off. And their negativity just inspired me to throw up the I love you sign. And they didn't actually like make eye contact when I drove by with my I love you. So I put my window down and stuck it out the window just so that they would be forced to see the love. Yeah, it's definitely a different way to interact with people. Hey, Robbie. Hey, Paul. How's it going? Speaking of what I just said, I might have taken a picture of it, but I was having a conversation with a sister the other day who basically said that she likes to play the mirror and match whatever energy is given to, instead of, let me try to find what I actually said, because I was pretty proud of my my response. Hey, Queen Ange, how's it going? Anyone can feel free to, say any topics that you'd like to chat about in the live chat while I am looking for this particular post. I'm kind of tempted to pull this table into the sun because it's a little bit chilly in the shade. But then again, I'll start getting blinded by the sun. So I probably, like I said at the beginning, won't stay on very long for today because, well, for multiple factors. I'd really like to get home and, here it is, finally, focus on the slides for my next reading of the Holy Megillah. If you missed the last one, it was chapter 55, and Mary Magdalene shared with us about a bunch of different teas. I absolutely love drinking hot tea. So it's really cool how detailed they were as well. And she, laid out 7 different qualities of teas, whether they're like an expectorant, a loosening agent, a soother, different aspects that different tea, different herbs can fall under in order to make a complex tea. I have my own, like some olive tree leaves and some hibiscus leaves. I ordered some catnip. I've definitely trying to branch out in my tea drinking so that I'm not just drinking peppermint tea all the time, because it is not good for us to be exciting all of the systems, especially on a daily basis, because, well, for multiple reasons. It makes it hard to establish a daily energy level, a balanced energy level. It also weakens the effect that a cup of peppermint tea should have. It kind of excites your organs and helps loosen stuff inside to detox it out of our body. But if we drink it all the time, then it's going to, we're going to have more of it to do the same amount. And yeah, it can really mess up our daily energy levels. You definitely should not have it when you're pregnant. So, anyways, this person said that she mirrors back who they are with. And I said, I used to act like a mirror as well. But the more you mirror low vibe people, the more you are a low vibe person yourself. By lowering our high vibration to mirror those of lower consciousness, we are adding negativity to their already bad situation, which will also be bad karmically for us. What every soul truly needs is love to pull them out of the fight or flight and bring them into the light. Just imagine everyone has a hurt child that needs to be healed and loved into behaving properly. And I mentioned that I did not learn these things from growing up. I actually learned them from the Holy Megillah. And another great verse that I just read this morning, I'm in the middle of reading about Christ's diet, which in the Holy Megillah is not a pure fruitarian diet like we read in some of the other Essene Gospels. And this verse kind of talks about that. It says, and though the Lord and Lady require vegetarianism of all who choose to be our disciples, do not think negative thoughts about people that eat meat. You are to be their teacher in a spirit of love and compassion, leading by example and not by condemnation. Behold, if the Lord and Lady required fruitarianism at this level of the cosmic mystery school, most of you would be physically damaged. Wherefore I say, if you are called to a diet more ascetic than the one that is required at this level by the Lord and Lady, follow your calling, but neither require it of others, nor be judgmental. Woo-wee. Anybody who's been following me for long enough knows that, man, that's a different message than I have been preaching for a long time. And it just feels a lot better to not be so angry and putting out that negative energy, understanding the power that I have in my own thoughts, words, and deeds. And if I come up to a soul that is already lost, becoming, this vicious mama bear is not going to help change them. They are already a lost little child. And so they're going to either run away or I'm a tough guy, and they're going to put up their defenses and they're going to say, for every one animal you don't eat, I'm going to eat 10, right? So they're going to have this childish response either way. We have to get out of that fight or flight mentality, just like when you're dealing with children, when they're in this highly emotional state, you can't get through to them. You need to calm them down, make them feel safe, let them help them understand that they are loved and they are okay. And then you can start to try to talk to them in a normal and rational way. But when they are in this tantrum, this heightened emotional state, again, you're not going to get through to them. And almost 10 times out of 10, the humans that you come across, especially on Facebook, social media, whatever, are emotional babies. It's not that we're not taught how to handle our emotions, how to deal with conflict, how to even to handle conflict with respect and care. For a lot of us, myself included, I like to avoid conflict, which isn't always good. And that kind of might seem counterintuitive with the way that I can act with people online. But also the way that I'm interacting with people online has changed a lot. So I'm not trying to have any of that negative energy. I already have done a lot of damage and, been mean to people and have people that residually are still out there that are holding on to those things and, actively sending curse energy my way. Unfortunately, that's just how a lot of people are. And then especially when they get old and bitter and they hold on to these resentments and people blame you for their life, or just different ways that people hold things against us. Someone that maybe you were not nice to in high school, maybe that kid has like long lasting problems because of the things that you said, right? Um, so it's really important that we are loving and kind to other people, not only for their sake, but for our own as well, because we need more positive energy coming our way, especially the more that we try to awaken the dark forces, that want to try to keep us down, to divert us off the path, to do any of these different things. Um, the more that we're aligned with Yah's way, the less that they can interfere and mess with us. And for us, Yah's way is being loving and kind, no matter what people may come and throw stones at us, whether they're physical weapons or verbal or emotional or whatever. How we act is really important. Hey, Dave. Dave says, haha, forced to see the love. That is so great. Definitely. And those people definitely were not expecting it. People are just really funny. And it's really sad that as I was even driving up, the lady, just had her middle finger. Like, it's like, why though? I don't know. Anyways. Queen Ange says, I'm making tofu and avocados tomorrow. Interesting. Are you making that into a taco or something, or some other kind of dish? I'm trying to stay away from gluten and bread. It's making me bloated. Oh, okay. So you're going to have the tofu kind of instead of like a toast and avocado type thing. Cool. I would love to hear how that goes for you. I know that a lot of people do have problems with gluten, and sometimes now it's mostly due to the glyphosate or whatever, however you say that, different things that they're actually spraying on it rather than the gluten itself. But how much gluten is in fruit and vegetables and the things that that we were kind of intended to eat, not so much. I know that we're definitely overdoing so much in our, especially the standard American diet. Even as a vegan, I'm definitely feeling more convicted in making sure that I am going to the farmers market and supporting local farmers, making connections with them, and even further starting to grow my own food, because the powers that be have bad things planned for you and me. And one way that we can try to, prepare for that is by growing our own food. Maybe start with something small. They have some pretty nice, Dave actually bought me for Christmas a little indoor hydroponic growing type kit thing, and some seeds, which I admit I haven't gotten to planting anything yet, but again, I've been in the wind, and I know that once I plant these things, I need to be there to tend to them. I can't just, plant them and then go on a trip for 2 weeks and hope that they're alive. But I do plan on growing more of my own food. I have, a lot of plans for that. And I would love to encourage you to do that as well. No matter where you are in life, gardening is important. If everyone had their own garden, food scarcity wouldn't be a problem. The powers that be wouldn't be able to hold that over our heads. And you might have heard that there is a, fertilizer shortage going on, all planned, of course, and how that is going to impact the food supply in America. Who knows how soon that is going to be. So yeah, if there's one thing that you leave this this live stream with, is please go plant some food, plant something, anything to get you going, even getting into sprouting. Priestess Therese said, gave me the tip that those mason jars that, have the little metal lids on the top, I showed you them before, are like the best thing that she has found in her experience for sprouting. You can find kits of them on Amazon for like $20 some. And then you can buy like a pack of sprouting seeds for, I don't know, $10 or so, right? Anything that you can do to start saving up. Maybe next time that you go to the grocery store, get a little bit of extra pasta sauce, rice, beans, um, dehydrated fruit, canned vegetables, different things that will help you in case of an emergency. Yeah, we don't really, right now, I would say don't make a habit of going and eating out of cans. And there's actually a reel that I saw that these scientists, I believe in Australia, could be misquoting that location part, but they took like 60 people or so and basically put them in a little bubble to where all of the food that they were getting supplied didn't come into contact with any plastic. So, when you go to the store and your cucumbers wrapped in plastic, or the all the stuff is shrink wrapped in its plastic, the cans are plastic, everything is plastic, and we're like, why do we have so much microplastic? Anyways, this study, they alleged that they were able to, keep these people in this bubble and cut out anything that had to do, with the canned food, with the plastics inside of them, anything that was wrapped in plastic, even vegetables and fruit, and then like highly processed things like chips, different things like that. They cut these things out of these people's diets, and they were able to eliminate a significant amount of microplastics in their urine in just a matter of a few weeks or so. So our bodies are self-healing machines, and they're constantly wanting to heal. You cut yourself and everything goes to start healing that, right? It might take longer for some than others, but that's based on your immune system and the level of health that you have. A lot of people's immune systems are trying to, it's like their gears that are like really, really struggling because there's just so much crap in their bodies. It's like all this meat and dairy and like heavy, heavy things, junk food and different stuff. And so their body's like really struggling to even keep up with that, let alone go and heal yourself. But if you read about raw vegans, their immune system's going at high speed, and they heal from things very quickly, not just bleeding things, but also, like athletic muscle type injuries as well. The healing speed is a lot faster because they're just healthier. Hey, David D, how's it going? Sweet. Finished work early and I'm here. Glad you can make it. It's been a while. Hello, naturalista. The day people will stop to eat animals, no war in the world will be. Do you agree? That's okay. I understand that you are not a native English speaker, but you are totally right. When people stop eating these violent meals, then we can see an end to the war. These things are directly linked because it's violence. It's a lack of valuing life. We don't value the life. We are slaughtering it for a cheeseburger or a candy bar or any of this. Why not, have a disregard for other human lives? And then all of the political and the religious and other types of programming, I think it's easier for them to get us to turn against the animals than our fellow humans. So that's another reason why, not only do they get us to eat animals so that we have violence inside, but then they feed that violence with the divide and conquer, the politics, the religions, my country's better than yours, and all these other ideas that fuel that. So yeah, you're definitely right. They're directly linked, war and eating animals. The Holy Megillah does allow for eating eggs that are unfertilized and milk that come from animals that are highly cared for. These animals are not going to be ever slaughtered and eaten. They're not being forced impregnated. They're not being, put into cages or unnatural situations to make them lay eggs more or produce more milk or any of these things. In fact, the first story of the first shepherd saved a mama sheep from being slaughtered. So they were friends, and that was, the example of a shepherd, was that the shepherd lays down their life for the sheep. The shepherd will protect the sheep and make sure that the sheep is safe at all costs because they love the sheep. They're not going to eat it. They're not going to harm it. So it's definitely a vegetarianism that is more aligned with veganism than mainstream vegetarianism, which unfortunately often allows for, your Reese cups and all of the ice cream and all of the cheese and all of these things. I get it. It's very addictive. Cow's milk, or any milk, is meant to be addictive. When a mother breastfeeds her baby, whether it's a human mother, a cow mother, a goat mother, any of the mothers, there's a chemical reaction that happens in the mama's brain and in the baby to make them happy, so that they are bonded more, so that they come back more for that feeling, so that there's more love. And when we get milk from other mammal beings, that's part of it as well. It's not just, oh, I need to drink milk for protein or calcium, which isn't even accurate. You're also getting that kind of a feeling as well. So, the cliche, oh, you're going through a breakup, so go and eat a jar of ice cream. Well, that's because that ice cream has those motherly comfort feelings. It has casomorphin, which is like casomorphine, which is actually linked to SIDS. So definitely don't give your children cow's milk. Dave says, about Zayen, do Lord and Lady recommend any particular martial art to study as a basis? That is a good question. From what I have read, they would study, kind of feel it out for themselves and kind of look at whatever was available and then decide whatever felt right for themselves. But also knowing that Zayen is spontaneous. So having the muscle memory of all of these formed practices is good, but also making sure that there's some spontaneity as well, because then nobody is expecting what you're doing. I love that you brought that up, because I've been saving some Tai Chi type things. That's kind of maybe where I personally feel called myself. But I haven't really looked at all of the different types of martial arts. But it's really interesting how it's so balanced with the masculine and feminine divine. Obviously, all the martial arts are kind of like that. Some are more nonviolent than others. So it'd be interesting maybe for me to do a little bit of deep dive into the different groups to see for myself as well, and then maybe share that with you guys, because I'm feeling called to get into that as well. Not just gardening, but preparing in other ways. Like the scriptures talk about us potentially needing to flee to the mountain or flee to the wilderness, right? And getting out of the big cities, and that could involve some running. And so some of us need to get into shape so that we don't get, we're not the slowest runners when it comes to down to the time that we need to book it out of here. Of course, I am being lighthearted, but that future is scary, and we don't have to go down that path. So I am also feeling called to speak more about Agenda 2030 and the transhuman agenda, because especially the younger generations, I feel like, are at high risk when I feel like a lot of the younger generation are detached from spirituality and religion in general because of, the swing of like the really strict religious parents. Then the next generation was like, we're not doing that, we're doing this. And then their kids basically get left with like no, kind of structure or religion and stuff. And then like the pendulum swings back and forth, and it's kind of a weird way that they control humanity. But the fact that they have been so immersed in technology and have just grown up with it always being there, and ChatGPT and all of these really, we can see them as beneficial things that make our lives easier. But every time that we go to ChatGPT to, formulate our response, which I don't do this, but I've seen other people do, they give their, mental faculties to this machine to do its thinking. I definitely always am very active when I interact with ChatGPT, and I'm like calling it out when it's wrong and different things like that. Although I don't really act or interact with it too much, I don't think that we should be using it as our counselor. I know there's a new fad. I just saw a post on Facebook and previously heard other people talking about it, like asking ChatGPT to give you like a deranged psychoanalysis or something like that. I don't remember the details, but I'm not asking my chat bot to label me or put me in a box or anything, or give me a mental analysis at all. I don't get into detailed conversations with it, but I know that there are people, and I know that especially the younger generation are getting sucked into this stuff. And the social aspect is oftentimes almost all online and through the screen. And then you're, playing a game and some stupid AI girlfriend pops up and like, tits bouncing around and stuff. And I'm just like, if I'm seeing this, then I know other people are seeing this crap too. And it just makes me really sad for humanity. So, anyways, I got off on that tirade to say that I'm feeling more called to, talk about the transhuman stuff, and even the data centers, going to city council meetings to, just stick my nose in whatever's going on, and be a voice that is there saying, we're not having any data centers here. People that want to say that we're hypocritical for like using Facebook but not wanting the data center in our backyard, shut Facebook off. I don't care. You can have all of this crap. We don't want your data centers. We don't want they're not just like these innocent data centers. They're like these electric homes for these seraphim artificials that can basically come into this like almost energy vortex, that they're sucking the water and the power and all of these resources just getting sucked in to this demon. So Dave says Tai Chi seems like a good starting spot. Good idea. Yeah, we need to get a Tai Chi class going in Mount Shasta City Park. That would be really awesome. Both Dave and I know Tai Chi master, which it would have been really funny to have him along. But yeah, I'm not even going to say anything about that. I hope he's doing great. I really do. One time I tried to give him this Zion book and caught him on a bad day, I guess, because I was just entering the property and he was like getting ready to leave. And I was like, hey, this book, because our Zion book that was written by Dave Greenleaf, that kind of, pulls information from the Megillah and also has other stuff. It talks about, martial arts and being centered and all this stuff. And I was like, maybe this person who's into Tai Chi, we could have like a bridge, And as soon as like, hey, I wanted to give you this. And they're like, is it going to help me? Because I was told by my counselor or guidance or something to not let anybody help me today. I was like, oh, okay, never mind then. Have a good day. Anyways, everybody has their bad days for sure. It's just, it's a struggle to manage our own demons and emotions. And especially when we get into an emotional situation and then there's these negative forces that want to make it worse, that want to feed on our negativity. They want us to be so negative that we go into the store and we're just at everybody else and, spreading negativity everywhere we go so that they can, oh, this person, caught that vibe and now they're feeling a little off. Let me go over there and feed on them for a little while, right? And that's how these parasites work, just feeding on us all. So it's really important that we all try to handle our stuff. And part of Zion is being centered. It's like I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with the present, the past, and the future. And no matter what comes at me, I'm still going to be here at peace. My boat isn't getting rocked. You guys can try, but I wouldn't try if I were you, because you're just going to have to get lifted up. I'll lift you up into my high vibration, like one of those swings, and then just start swinging people around. Just kidding. Dave says, calling all true Tai Chi masters. Well, apparently once you even get your foot into the door, then you're considered a master. So I'm not really sure how the rating system goes. But anyways, if anybody does know any Tai Chi masters around Mount Shasta that would be interested in helping some of us, learn some of the fundamental things. One of the reasons that this specific Tai Chi master didn't want to kind of have a basic class was because he was explaining that it actually goes a lot deeper, and understanding, the different flows of energy more than just coming in and holding this stance and then moving to this stance and all this stuff. There's a little bit of groundwork that they were saying that needs to be laid, which I totally understand. Because it's not just, karate, we're chopping things and, doing this. There's movement to it, and understanding balance. And when someone comes at you, they're not in balance, right? I'm sitting here balanced. If someone tries to attack me, they've stepped out of balance, and I don't need to step out of balance to, go at them. I just need to, maybe move my balance out of the way and allow their balance to fall where it naturally should, which is the ground, right? They're doing something that's wrong. I'm just going to simply step out of the way because I'm centered. So I can't wait, actually. I shouldn't say I can't wait, because that's kind of calling it into existence, but I know that if I ever got into a situation with somebody, they'll be sad. It's funny. It's so funny to be so changed from the person that was like, I'll fight, kill, and die. Well, I will fight to some extent, and I'll definitely die. But I'm not going to kill, because the soul of a killer will fall into foul pits in the life to come. And even in this life, if you kill a killer, the number of killers in the world remains the same, right? Because now you have become a killer yourself. To be bit by a wolf doesn't tarnish your soul, but to become a wolf will make you into a wolf, right? It's going to darken your soul. So yeah, be as peaceful as lamb, and return kindness for meanness, and love for hatred, and kind words for violent ones. David D says we should vote to make Siskiyou County a data center free zone. Yeah, I don't know if you were here when I mentioned earlier that I might go to some of the city council. Well, I guess I just said that within the time that you said that you were here. So some of the city council meetings that are coming up to start nosing around. I know that there have been other places that have not had luck resisting them, but I don't know how dedicated the people were to fighting it, and what lengths they would go to fight it as well. Definitely can feel like it's a losing battle because of these companies and all the money that they have and all the seeming power. And it's like all of the, I don't want to call them elite, all of the parasites at the top, they're all working together. And who are we? But we outnumber them. And we are the rightful inhabitants of this world. We have given these low vibe creatures power by letting them in. If we read the story of Adam and Eve, they let the devil into Eden essentially because they chose to kill and eat animals. That door hadn't been opened yet, but as soon as that was open, then the devil's allowed to come into Eden a little bit, right? And then we also read that, at the beginning, he wasn't allowed to go all the way up to the tree of life, but then he told Adam to go and spread blood around it so that they would be able to just go anywhere that they wanted. Until we open the door, they can't come in. And if we say no, we don't want this anymore. We don't want the violence. We don't want violence towards our fellow humans or towards animals. We don't want your artificial future. We don't want what you have to offer. Thanks, but no thanks. Can I preach to you about the true immortality that your soul has? You want to come on out of that, seraphim artificial body? You want to come on out of that machine and come into the truth? Oh, man. It's really sad to think about how deceived those souls are, that they fell so far down that they forgot that they were immortal, and they chose to mix with machine, mix with metal to try to become immortal. And man, okay. I always have to stop myself because I want to be like, what a hellish world that you want to get trapped in. But it's just so beautiful right here. But this 666 realm, as beautiful as the nature is, it is really fallen compared to what it was in El Cush, when we had bodies, light bodies that need not die, where we were frolicking around Eden, cuddling with all of the animals, and everyone was living at peace. Man, don't you want to go back to that? We can make that happen. We manifest it. Every thought, word, and deed is either manifesting a better world for our immediate self and then the world around us, or a worse world. And so, what do you want to do? I want to make this world a better place, and hopefully you do as well. I'm going to jump off of here so I can go and get some of my work done. Hopefully, I'm not sure it'll be tomorrow, but maybe on Friday I'll be able to do the next chapter in the Holy Megillah. One of the reasons that I am reading it is, well, people won't actually read it for themselves, but they will listen. And so I am happy to provide that for other people. The church itself is actually going to be producing an official audiobook, which I will be part of. Super excited about that. But that's going to be in the future, and it's going to be a lot of work because I'm reading through my own, thing, and it's taken me quite a few months to get this far. Granted, I am making slides, so it takes a longer time than just straight reading through. But yeah, I'm really excited because this summer, the 2026 Day of Greenleaf final edition of the Megillah is going to be out with more scrolls added that were the Acts of the Apostles, essentially different stories and scrolls from the apostles of Lord and Lady Christ. Day has been working on translating these scrolls for, I think he said 40 or 50 years of his life. And he's had children and been married, had a life in between there as well. And so it's really been a big project for him to take. And I'm excited for, him to be done with that work and for us to be able to read all of the great things that we're going to get to read. All right, I'm going to jump off of here, but I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the Goddess bless you. And look at Mount Shasta.